I've always had a soft spot for Paris because I discovered unity in France. When I was a young man, a student, I was traveling back from Paris to the coast to catch a ferry, and in the train, and if anyone here has suffered the discomforts of French railroads, as they then were, third class had wooden seats, and believe me, it was something of an endurance contest. But I remember sitting in the compartments, as they call them, and seeing a little booklet on the seat opposite that somebody had left, and it said La Parole Quotidienne, which in French is the Daily Word, and it had a picture of the gates to Unity Village on it with the beautiful fall colors. And I thought to myself, I took the book and I thought to myself, gee, I'd like to go there one day. And a couple of years later, I was walking through those same gates. Well, anyway, it's a sad time for so many people, but that doesn't mean we can't have a little bit of fun once in a while, and I've got some mirth moments. We've been having some computer problems here lately in the church. One or two of our folks have had a bit of an issue, and so I was able to find a computer jest. Are there such things? Can we joke about computers? It's dangerous. We might provoke something. This is called the laptop contest. Jesus and Satan were having an ongoing argument about who was better on his computer. They'd been at it for days, and God was sick and tired of all the bickering. And finally, God said, cool it, guys. I'm going to set up a test that'll run for 2 hours, and I'll judge who does the better job. So Satan and Jesus sat and they typed away. They did spreadsheets. They wrote reports. They sent faxes. They sent emails. They sent out emails with attachments, heaven forbid. They downloaded, worse. They did some genealogy reports. They made cards. They did every known job. But 10 minutes before the time was up, lightning suddenly flashed across the sky. Thunder rolled, rain poured. And of course, the electricity quit. Satan stared at his blank screen and screamed every curse word known in the underworld. Jesus just sighed. The electricity finally flickered back, and each one of them restarted the computers. Satan started searching frantically, screaming, it's gone, it's all gone. I lost everything when the power went out. Meanwhile, Jesus quietly started printing out all his files from the past 2 hours. Satan observed this and became more and more irate. Wait! He cheated, God. How did he do it? God shrugged and said, Jesus saved. When they're really bad, you're allowed to throw things. And here's one more. And this is an Irish joke, and I'm allowed to do Irish jokes, and I've told you why. This is called the Catholic dog. Muldoon lived alone in the Irish countryside with only a dog for company. One day, the dog died. And Muldoon went to the father priest and said, and I'll do this in West Cork dialect for you, Father, my dog is dead. Could you be after saying a mass for the poor cratur? Cratur. Father Patrick replied in dignified tones, I'm afraid not, Muldoon. We cannot have services for an animal in the church, you know that. But there are some Baptists down the lane, and there's no telling what they believe. Maybe they'll do something for you and the poor cratur. Muldoon said, I'll go right away, Father. Do you think 5,000 is enough to donate for the service? Father Patrick exclaimed in horror, Sweet Mary, Mother of Jesus and all the saints, why didn't you tell me the dog was a Catholic? Yes, quite. Poor wee cratur. Just recently, I have been reading the results of several reports on the state of health in the Western world. Don't ask me why, it's an interest of mine. And one in particular caught my eye. It was put out by the World Health Organization, and it was concerned about the impact of stress on our lives and the illnesses, of course, to which stress can lead. And it said the relentless pursuit of the elusive goal of success is often, we feel, the cause of what is occurring. And that word success popped up. And I saw it and it stood out. And I thought, yes, success in many ways today is an indication of where we stand in our lives, isn't it? We say, am I successful? What is demanded of me? And I asked myself, okay, what is success? It's a little like many of these global words, peace, love, so forth, until we begin to pin them down and actualize them and bring them into some form of tangible, palpable reality that we can understand, they're fundamentally meaningless. So what is success? Well, success as a word, and here I'm becoming etymological on you. Success as a word, its origins are intriguing. Success is a fairly latecomer to the English language. It only appears a couple of times in the King James Version of our Bible, 1611. Shakespeare uses it once, I think in 1588, in Titus Andronicus, one of his less interesting and more boring plays. I only know that because I was forced to learn it for an examination once. Almost back in 1588, I think. The year of the Armada. Success, though, at that time didn't mean what it means today, or what I think it means. Success back then, showing its Latin roots, meant the succession of events over time. Indeed, we use the word succession today, do we not, in the same context? Succession, the movement of events over time. But it was in the 18th century when in England, in Britain in general, there was a huge upwelling of prosperity amongst the merchant classes and the aristocracy. Prosperity suddenly assumed a very, very different kind of a face, and the word success seemed to fit that very well. In his great dictionary of 1755, Samuel Johnson, who was one of the early dictionary compilers, about something like 70 years earlier, I suppose, than we saw a dictionary in this country, Johnson defined success as the acquisition, the visible acquisition of worldly goods, the demonstration of accomplishment, the attainment of rank, status, prestige in society. He was fairly clear on what he thought success ought to mean. The word had undergone a change in that regard, of course. And in the 19th century, success became even more palpable. We demonstrated our worth in life to ourselves and to others and to society in general by what we had acquired in the literal sense. Wealth, riches became a goal that was worth attaining because it defined what we were as human beings. And it's interesting that, of course, success over the 20th and now into the 21st centuries has continued to mean fundamentally the same. Now, I'm not against success. Heaven knows. I have to pay bills. I'm still working at my age. I should be on the stoop someplace, fanning myself with maybe a... No, never mind. Them juleps are real mean. But I'm not. I enjoy working. I like working. It's fun. I enjoy doing it. But it seems to me that in the pursuit of success, as I have defined it, as Dr. Johnson defined it, and as it has been defined over the last couple of hundred years, success often drives us, not just for reasons of monetary gain, which we all have to recognize is compulsive, not just for gain, monetary gain, but it seems to define who and what we are. How successful is he? How successful was he? We don't ask people anymore, who are you? We say, what do you do? That would have been considered a very rude question, even in the 18th or 19th centuries. You ask people who they were, not what they did. Because when we ask people what they do, it's a coded way of saying, how successful are you? What have you achieved in your life? Why aren't you showing it? How much can you buy? How much can you own? How much can you display? How much do you have? This defines you. Well, as I say, I've no argument necessarily against the acquisition of goods, prestige, whatever you want, title. After all, I have a title. I use it sometimes. Not reverend, please. I've been in many areas of life where the struggle for success has been a paramount determinant of people's behavior, of their very being. I've worked in academic departments across the world, in this country, in other countries, and I've seen how especially academics struggle for success. They often do so by disparaging their colleagues, doing everything they can to climb to the top of the tree, trying to get the latest monograph printed in the best academic or scholarly journal. It's not always a pretty sight. They may not make a huge amount of money, but they have a concept of success which involves Dr. Johnson's definition, the acquisition of something worldly, visible, palpable, something that gives power and control, that exalts the individual ego, so that we say, gee, I'm grateful to be in your presence. My dear old dad said, remember one thing, nobody is above you and nobody is below you. But sometimes, as we seek success, we forget that, and we distinguish between those who have succeeded as the world judges success and have not succeeded. I'd like to just read a simple sentence from Jesus' teaching. Jesus' biggest failure in history. I mean, look at it. He loses everything, and he dies a shameful and public death. I mean, he's a loser. And yet, I don't necessarily believe Christianity was a success, but then Jesus didn't found Christianity. Ask Rabbi Ted. He'll tell you. Jesus said, what does a man gain by winning the whole world at the cost of his true self? What can he give to buy that self back? Well, what is our true self? I think the problem with success, as we define it today, is that it has become unbalanced. It drives us very often to the exclusion of the discovery of who and what we truly are. What is our greatest asset? Ourselves. What is the greatest success that you can imagine? Your own struggle with life and how you overcome, how you relate to others, how you survive. That's success. That may have become linked with the visible acquisition of wealth and power, but it really belongs to the innermost core of our being. Sometimes people are driven to ruthlessness to achieve success, and they do so by negating who and what they truly are. Andrew Carnegie, the great steel magnate and philanthropist And Scotsman was once asked, "To what do you attribute your success, your great material worth and success, Mr. Carnegie?" And Andrew Carnegie had no sense of humor whatsoever. He replied deadpan, "Others." Sometimes we use others in our struggle to get up that ladder. We step on their little hands on the rungs below us in that mad scramble to get to the top. But what is true success? What is true success? Thoreau, who was at Walden Pond, who was not a noted success according to the world's definition, said, if you wake up in the morning and your heart is filled with joy, if your day is filled with the perfume of beautiful flowers, if you go to bed content and happy, knowing that all is well in your world, satisfied with yourself, that's your success. That's your success. Of course, he didn't live long enough to get the royalties off his book. He might have then been considered a material success as well. So who knows? But we have to ask ourselves, I think, from time to time, as we look at our lives, what is success for me? Each one of us in this room, I'm sure, has achieved remarkable things. Maybe some of you are wealthy people. All power to you. I don't see Bill Gates in the back there, but Bill and Melinda might slip in once in a while. We're not too far away after all. I bless them. They've done a wonderful, and they share of their prosperity. Of course, that's wonderful. But we have to ask ourselves, why are we here on earth? If it's just to accumulate material possessions, power, prestige, we can't take any of those things with us, folks. We can't, honest. Some people have tried. You can have your head frozen if you like, so that if you come back, you can resume where you left off. Cryogenics are a wonderful thing. I don't know what happens if you can't continue to pay for it, but I guess you'll be disappointed when you come back. We won't even go there. The point is, we need to find something we can take with us. This experience must mean something greater than the temporal, the limited. It must mean something surely of eternal significance. Is that ego? I don't think so. I think we're here to learn and to grow, and we want to carry something with us. As Jesus says, what shall it profit us if we gain the whole world? The whole world. At the cost of the soul, of what we truly are. If we have neglected to love and to relate to others, if we have failed to enjoy the beauties that surround us, if we have failed to nurture and nourish the soul, we can hardly be really a success, can we? I know you can't take a soul out and pickle it in formaldehyde like they did to my appendix once. I don't know where that went, actually. They never told me. To a teaching hospital. It was a very unusual appendix. But, truly, it was. No, honestly. There you go. But the kind of success that we're here to enjoy, the true success, comes from something much deeper, much more sophisticated. And I think the Buddhists have often recognized this, which is why they work on the cultivation of an eternal realization of where they fit into this great cosmic adventure that we're all involved in. If we can balance success, say I'm not an enemy of success, if we can balance that with personal growth, with the discovery of who and what we are, of the discovery of something remarkable and enduring within our very hearts, something beautiful, something passionate, something joyous, that's the success. Every one of you in this room is a success, fantastic success, because God designed us that way. I don't think God made failures. We are extraordinary creatures with extraordinary capacities to discover and plumb our own wonderful depths and to be so much more than we are from day to day. We grow and we're transformed, and it's wonderful. That's success. That's success. And we should at all times look for and celebrate it. I'm done. Does anyone have any questions? Don't be afraid. Okay.